Since we met, my boyfriend has been on and off of Tinder. I've been very clear that it hurts me, but he always defended it as just him wanting an ego boost. A few months ago we had a major argument about it where I threatened to leave, and I honestly thought that was going to be the end of it. Pretty naive, really. Also, I should note his ex before me left him for this very reason. I feel like an idiot for thinking he'd ever change. Today I woke up and realized he'd been using my phone and his email was logged in. I noticed he'd gotten an email from an app called Hinge. Just to give you an idea of the kind of app this is, the description read: the app that was designed to be deleted. Great. My stomach instantly dropped. I logged into it with his phone number, and he's put up profile pictures of him that I've taken when we've been on days out together. In his description he's got things like, "We'll get along if you like Chinese and have a dog. If you're silly and comfortable and overshare." He's also put in as a strict preference that he wants to be matched with Hindus/Muslims only. I'm white British. I knew something was going on yesterday but wasn't sure what. He was acting differently and it was making me so anxious. He had the nerve to tell me that I must just be hormonal? I think the worst part about it is his reaction to all of this. He heard me crying, acted concerned, and then saw me with his phone. At which point he just took it from me and went back to bed. That was about an hour ago, and the only interaction I've had with him since was him asking me to open the bathroom door. Not to see if I was okay, but because he needed to pee. I'm obviously hurt by the fact that he's on this thing, but I think I'm more shocked by his total lack of guilt or response to me being upset. I'm so angry and there's nothing I can do with it. I'm so embarrassed about the situation I don't want to tell my family/friends how he's treated me. And I can't even talk to him about it because he's refusing to address anything's wrong. He's still in bed. I don't know what to do. He's brought my self-esteem down so much that I feel like I can't be without him, but I know I can't stay in this situation. Should I even bother trying to talk to him, or should I just leave? I've taken screenshots of everything, and initially I was going to send them to his family but thought against it. The thing is, if I just leave there's literally zero consequences for him. He gets what he wants. He gets the freedom to go on random dates with no guilt. It just seems so unfair that I'm the one left heartbroken and he gets to party up. I got myself and my stuff together, packed it in my car and left. It felt impossible. There was a lot of stuff and I was a wreck, but I managed it in the end. Throughout the whole time, he was just in bed pretending to sleep, which made me angry more than anything. I felt like he couldn't care less. We'd been living together for 2 years, but fortunately, in September I decided to get my own student apartment. Obviously, I knew then that things weren't going well, and thank God I made that decision because now I have a place to stay. Whilst I was sat on the driveway in my car ready to leave, I got a text from him saying, "I'm not going to insult you by asking you to stay or to come back, but could you please leave the keys to the house?" I had already left them, but that last dig at me made me so mad and hurt. No apology, no
goodbye.
Just leave the keys. I guess that's my closure. I'm sad that this shit show of a relationship has come to an end, angry that it happened the way it did, but funnily enough, I'm relieved. I can do what I want now and get on top of my self-esteem issues. I'm driving down to see my mom and the rest of the family tomorrow. I haven't seen them since Christmas and I absolutely cannot wait. The anger's still there, but I'm just going to get on with things. I absolutely cannot waste any more energy on that guy. My daughter is 16 years old and in high school. I noticed recently that she's been behaving in a bad manner, constantly commenting on other people's looks, belongings, calling them stuff that isn't cool, and just being insensitive. It's like she lost a filter or something because usually she's polite, but my wife suspected that our daughter's sudden misbehavior occurred after she started hanging out with new girls from the school. Basically the mean type, and have picked on their behavior. I've sat with my daughter and had many discussions about how her behavior has been negatively affecting everyone around her. Our housemaid is the person most affected here, and my daughter has chosen her to be her target for hair, clothes, etiquette, criticism. She has complained about our daughter calling her offensive names like filthy and gross for cleaning certain areas in our house. I took a stand and explicitly told my daughter I'd punish her if she ever said stuff like that to our housemaid again. Last week my daughter had a party to go to. Earlier that day she called our housemaid filthy. so I grounded her by not letting her go to the party. She threw a fit and called our housemate a liar, saying she never called her that. That was the end of it. Days later, my daughter came to me saying she couldn't find her iPhone after looking everywhere. She asked me to call her number and I did. My wife and I were stunned to discover that the iPhone was ringing inside our housemate's bag. I had a confrontation with her immediately and she denied and cried, saying she never touched the phone nor had any idea how it got there. I noticed my daughter calling her thief repeatedly, so I told her to stop and go to her room. I checked the indoor camera before continuing the argument and saw my daughter place her iPhone inside our housemate's bag. I was livid. I apologized to the housemaid and gave her the rest of the day off. I then showed the video to my daughter and she was absolutely speechless. I said what she did was immoral and straight up offensive to tamper with that poor woman's livelihood over a petty party she couldn't go to. I told her she was grounded and will have to spend the night in the backyard. She is a germaphobe. But she cried, begging me to not make her sleep with the dirt, insects, and hot temp. I refused to discuss it or I'd make it 2 nights. My wife said I should go easy on her, but I said calling people filthy and accusing them of stealing wasn't okay. In fact, it was the absolute worst. I then went through with my punishment. The reason I chose this punishment was because of the fact that my daughter says she is a germaphobe and used this as excuse to insult others' hygiene and appearance. Our backyard has dirt and bugs in it, and this kind of things get her uncomfortable, but other than that the backyard is 100% safe. I and my fiancé have been together since our sophomore year of college, so around 5 years now. My mom had an affair with a coworker when I was 16, leading to my parents' divorce. She has been single ever since, going on dates but no serious relationships. I have a good relationship with my dad and his new wife. Sadly, my fiancé's mom passed 2 years ago due to cancer and his dad has been single since. My fiancé proposed last year, but our wedding was delayed due to COVID. Our families had never met up to this point because his family lives in South Carolina, whereas we're in North Carolina, where we went to college, around a 3 hours drive away from his dad. 3 months ago, in January 2021, we decided that it was time to have our families meet for the first time to discuss our upcoming wedding in June 2021. Held in our backyard, COVID appropriate, immediate family only. My dad and his wife, my fiancé's dad, and my mom all met at our place to meet and discuss the wedding. This went well, albeit there was some tension between my mom and my dad. This morning, out of the blue, my mom called me and announced that she had eloped. I was shocked as she had not been dating anyone to my knowledge. Upon questioning, it turns out that she and my fiancé's dad had been dating in secret since that meeting in January and had married in secret yesterday, making my fiancé my stepbrother. I want to throw up just thinking about this. She said that I should now cancel my wedding because it would be inappropriate to marry my stepbrother. I'm absolutely horrified. I shouted at my mom, saying she just loves ruining my life, and called her selfish. First she cheated on my dad, and now she went and married my fiancé's dad, knowing full well I was about to marry my fiancé. My mom then said I was still young and I'd have the chance to meet someone new, but she's old and has to take every opportunity she's got, and so I was an ungrateful B\TCH for not approving of her marriage. She then accused me of wanting her to die alone. I don't think I'm the asshole, but I just wanted to make sure because ultimately I don't want her to have to be alone, even though I think she did that to herself by hurting my dad. I think I should be allowed to marry my fiancé as we met first. I'm also 12 weeks pregnant with my fiancé's kid, so that complicates matters more. We haven't told anybody yet. I don't know much about whether it's legal to marry your stepbrother. Honestly, I still don't know how to feel about this because this still feels kinda gross to me. We'll probably be going low or no contact. My husband, 35 years old, does not have a car. He sold his old one to help pay for his brother's wedding. I did not agree on this, but he had this car before we got together, so it's a shared property. Besides that, I have my own car, so that did not affect me till my husband started complaining about having to commute to work and hangout places. He tried to get me to let him drive my car several times, but I stood firm and put a boundary, making him understand that my car will never be driven by him. One of the reasons why is because of how bad his driving is. His brother lives out of town. My husband asked if he could drive my car to the wedding, but I refused, but not because I'm not invited. Another story for another day, because like I said, my car is off limits. He threw a fit, calling me unreasonable to let him take public transportation because he can barely stand it for 10 minutes, let alone hours. I said it wasn't my problem, which irritated him but made him stop arguing about it. The day that he was supposed to travel out of town, I woke at 10 a.m. and couldn't find my car key. I went outside and couldn't find my car either. I was beyond pissed. I called him, and like I expected, he took it and was on his way to the other town. I lost it and told him I gave him no permission to take it for a whole 5 days, and said that if he won't turn around with it and come home, then I'd call the cops and report it missing. His response was, "You wouldn't dare do it 'cause you know what would happen." I hung up on him, then immediately called the police and told them about my situation. I did not tell them my husband took it because they'd think it's a family dispute and decide to not get involved. I just reported it missing. 2 hours later, I got a call from my husband saying he was back in town and was being held at our local police station. I went to the station and talked to the cops. My husband made a scene there, swearing over and over that I gave him permission to take it, and said I was acting out of jealousy and spite because he was going to attend a wedding that I was not invited to. I took my car and went home, but he had to stay a little longer. He came home in the evening and went on a rage fit about how I created an awful situation and almost caused him to miss his brother's wedding. He called me vindictive, bitter, and a lunatic to call the police on him and try to accuse him of stealing my car. He had to leave the same day to be able to be there with his family and decided to extend his stay, and he still hasn't gotten back yet. Right now his mom and brother are blasting me for what happened and calling me spiteful.